Hey everybody, welcome back to another Papa Tykyo Reacts with yours truly, Papa Tkyosam over here on the Tkyosam channel, where every Friday at 9 a.m. Tokyo time I release a reactions video of me reacting to Japan-related videos because I've lived in Japan a long time and I've done YouTube a long time and I like to give my 2 cents about the other videos that I see. And I love watching Japan-related YouTube videos, especially because I get the chance to work on my Japanese study while I get to do this. So today we've got a very special video. This is from a guy whose channel I've already reacted to, I think, once. And his name is Japan Documented. And yeah, I mean, like, he barely has any subscribers, but his videos are really good. He just gets random people and he just sits down and interviews with them. And today he is interviewing this guy called Daniel Kahl. He's been an American in Japan for over 40 years. It's double the time I've been here. And I remember I used to see Daniel way back in the day. He used to be on TV a lot. And he became really popular with the foreign media when the big earthquake happened in 2011, because all of these media companies were lying and trying to exploit the situation of the disaster in Japan for profit. And he called them out and he's like, you guys aren't here, you don't know what's going on, shut the fuck up. And yeah, I've always had respect for this guy. He speaks really good Yamagata-ben, which is like a form of Japanese that's very countryside sounding. And I'm surprised. Like, he used to have his hair blonde, and looks like he's gained some weight since then. And hey, you know, you get older, you gain weight and stuff, and you go gray. But anyway, I was really excited to see this video pop up, and yeah, and I've got a big whole page of stuff to do. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video, shall we? Fucking A. I love starting my morning, just, you know, getting my coffee and getting my notebook out, and let's watch a nice long talking video while I'm waiting for the next Philip DeFranco news story to pop up. So anyway, yeah, let's get into it, guys.
Japanese people are amongst the most emotional people I know. They're very emotional, but they're very good at hiding it. But if you give them a couple of beers, a little bit of sake, and say, let's talk about this, they will go to town.
You don't usually speak English living in Japan?
In my everyday life, I speak English with my family, but of course, outside of my family, it's my...
Wow, wait, hold on a second. I just realized this is, like, aside from that one time he was calling out the foreign media in 2011, this is the first time I've heard him speak English. Holy shit. Oh, this is cool. This is going to be badass. Let's get into it.
My life is almost 100% Japanese. You know, my job, everybody I work with, they're all Japanese, so yeah. I've been studying Japanese for, let me think here, 47 years. 46 or 47 years now. I began studying Japanese before there were Japanese textbooks.
What's your name?
Oh, sorry, Daniel Kahl. I'm from Southern California. I'm a Dodger fan.
And how long have you been in Japan again?
SoCal.
All together, some 44 or 45 years, I think now. I graduated in 1981, and I've been here basically since then. I mean, I go back to America for about a month every year, and especially when my parents were still alive, I would try to go back to America as often as possible. But you know, with Corona these last few years, it's been quite difficult. But fortunately, recently, I can go back again. So, yeah, I go back. I practice my English over there, and then I come back here.
And what have you done professionally? What do you do now around Tokyo?
My job?
Yeah.
Well, he lives in Tokyo?
I've been working in the television industry over here in Japan since 1989, I think it was. Right, just about when the bubble started bursting, the economic bubble.
I wasn't born.
You're way too young. Oh, that's right. God, you're younger than my son. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. So you don't remember the bubble at all, do you?
I have never experienced that.
Oh boy, I have a billion stories to tell you. But anyway. Yeah. Now you can tell how old I really am. But I've been on TV since 1989.
God
So
damn, bro.
36 years
37
ago I
My
started, and I was
girlfriend's,
really busy for
37.
the first
Oh, God.
20 to 25 years.
God,
Very,
this guy's
very
got
busy.
gaijin Goomba beat.
Yeah, yeah.
huh?
Well, I don't want to say, my career is over, but I really had a good run. For 25 years, I was busy as all heck. And I traveled all over this country. I did so many different television programs, food programs, gourmet programs, and travel programs, travelogues. I also did some very serious reporting on Japanese elections and Japanese crime and Japanese accidents around Japan and things like that, where people were suing each other for stuff. Those are hard reporting jobs. I didn't really enjoy them, but they were important. I don't really like hearing about people's tragedies, but sometimes you do have to listen to those too. But I enjoyed the gourmet programs and the travel logs, and I did a lot of radio, did a lot of TV. I've even been in 2 movies in Japan. I've been in two movies, yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Oh, okay. Well, in
2
let's see,
movies.
1991, which is still before you were born, I was in a movie called Godzilla versus King Ghidorah.
Oh.
I was in one of the Godzilla
Cool.
movies, and I was only 31 years old at the time, but
My age.
I looked like I was about 21. I looked really young in the movie, and I was an officer in the U.S. Navy, and we saw a UFO. And the second movie I was in was just a couple of years ago. I was in Fukushima 50, which is a movie about the earthquake in 2011 and the resulting power plant's accident, the meltdown in Fukushima. And I played an American military officer. I played the guy who was in charge of Tomodachi Sakusen, and or Operation Tomodachi, as they call it in English. And that was really a great job. I mean, I was so honored to be a member of that cast with Watanabe Ken-san and some very, very high-powered Japanese actors. And we got to film, actually, parts of that movie on Yokota Base, the U.S. Air Force base here close to Tokyo. And that was the first time ever that a Japanese film crew had been allowed into Yokota Base. And
that's
we
cool.
were like the first ones to be involved with that. And I met so many fabulous people, all these American servicemen, airmen. And we talked, and they showed me around the base, and it was just
Chiming in for a second. I've actually, that was the first military base I think I was able to get into in Japan. Yeah, for all of you guys who don't know, there's U.S. military bases here, and they're basically like tiny little American towns. They're all fenced off, so you can't get in. But there's always Japanese photographers outside the fences with their stools, and they're taking pictures of the planes because they're plane otakus. But yeah, if you guys ever want American food, you're not supposed to be allowed to do it, but they don't really give a shit. You make friends. Like, I remember one of the first people I made friends with thanks to YouTube were some guys who worked on Yokota Air Base, and they would sneak me in. Well, not sneak me in. I mean, they would check me in, but then we would go to the grocery store, and I'd be like, I want that, I want that, I want that, and they'd just buy it for me, and then I may or may not have given them some money afterwards to compensate them for that. But yeah, like Yokota Air Base, I've been to like a handful of air bases after that, and like naval bases here in Japan, and Yokota by far, I think, was my favorite. It was just more relaxed. I think there's a big difference between Marine, Navy, and air bases when it comes to atmosphere and chillness or whatever. But yeah, Yokota Air Base is great. If you guys ever make friends with any military people, ask them to take you on the base. They got movie theaters, and they got Popeye's chicken, and they got Chili's. It's a nice time. Anyway, back to the video.
it was a great job. It was a fascinating job. I really enjoyed that. But we produced that in 2019. I think it came out right at the beginning of 2020. And of course, Corona got in the way of that because people weren't supposed to go to the movie theaters that time. So it could have won some awards, but the timing was really bad,
What's
unfortunately.
the movie called again? Fukushima 50?
It's called Fukushima 50, both in English and in Japanese.
Right,
And it's you can get it you can get it on video, and it might be on demand somewhere on TV too.
Wow.
But yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
What got you into entertainment industry in the first place?
I'm sorry, what?
What got you into entertainment industry for the first place?
Yeah, you know, everybody asks me that, but it's just it was just luck. It was a fluke.
Did you always want to like get in?
No, I was running a translation company at the time, and I was also running sort of an English education program through our company as well. We had customers all over Tokyo we were dealing with, and I was a businessman, and I had been doing that job for about 10 years, or not quite 10 years, but and while I was doing that, I got involved with a television program just tangentially, and they enjoyed me talking so much because I spoke with the Yamagata-ben. I was talking in Japanese, but I was talking with the Yamagata-ben. They said, this guy is really weird. They thought they've never heard anybody speak Yamagata-ben, you know, an American speak Yamagata dialect. And they were so impressed that they asked me to come be on another program. And those people asked me to be on another program, and it just one thing led to another, and I started getting busier and busier, and then I got involved with an agency who worked as the manager for several what they call gaijin tarento, or gaitare, or foreign talents in Japan. I worked for the same agency as Kent Gilbert and Chuck Wilson, several others. Again, you're young, you probably don't remember too many of these guys.
I've heard of the names.
You've heard the names, yeah. I suppose. Yeah, because they were really, really famous at the time, and we're still friends, you know, all of us. We get together once in a while for TV programs, and hey, how you been, you know, kind of thing. But, you know, we are sort of amongst the old hands of Japan, kind of the old Japan experts types. When I was young and I came here and I stayed much longer than almost everybody else that I know, I guess that was my goal. I wanted to be a Japan expert because at that time, there were no Japan experts. I figured that becoming a Japan expert would be a great way to find work and get a really interesting job, really interesting career. And, you know, one thing led to another, and it definitely has been an interesting career so far.
That was the very first reason for you to come to Japan?
The original motivation to come to Japan was, one, I had Japanese American friends, and so, you know, I would go to their house, and they would, like, you know, their houses are decorated differently than, you know, like Caucasian American homes. Like Japanese American families have, you know, just things that are Japanese in their home, and I was kind of fascinated by that. And also my Japanese American friends, and also my Korean American friends, we all did karate together. We studied kung fu and taekwondo and stuff like that. So we were really interested in martial arts, and that got me really interested in coming to Japan. I wanted to come here and do martial arts, and I did. I came here and I did judo for several years, and it's a great individual sport. So I really enjoyed that. And while I was practicing judo, I learned the language. I learned about Japanese art, Japanese Buddhism, Japanese culture in general, especially the shokubunka, especially the cuisine. And you know, and then I found a nice lady over here that I got married to, and after a couple of years, you know, we had a kid, and you know, one thing led to another, and I've been here for 40 some odd years.
Beautiful story.
God damn.
How did you start learning Japanese?
Well, I came to Japan when I was 17. I wanted to learn more karate.
17
so
years.
I came over here as an exchange student, and when I got to the school, you know, obviously, I didn't speak any Japanese at all, but I had studied German in America in my high school, and so I knew how to study a foreign language, and I knew that the first thing I had to do was learn a lot of vocabulary, and so I listened to the students around me. and I listened really hard because I didn't know any Japanese at all, but I could identify certain words which came up frequently. And then I would write them down in English or in Roman letters, and then I would try to look up those words in a dictionary later to see what they meant. Right. So like for example, when everybody's talking, they would say like sensei, and I'd go, what is sensei? And I'd look it up, and it means teacher. Go, oh, they're talking about the teacher. That makes sense. Or and they would also say things like omae and stuff like that. What the heck is omae? And well, that's a crude way to say you, for example. So I picked up a lot of vocabulary in the first few months, and then I just sort of, lined them up in different orders to see what would work, and it was really hard, and people laughed at me a lot because my Japanese was so bad in the beginning, but I was only 17. I really didn't care if anybody laughed at me or anything, so I just kept going and going and going, and after 1 year in living in Japan and using nothing but Japanese every day, I learned quite a bit. I was not super fluent, but I learned enough to be able to travel around Japan and to learn more. And my first year in Japan, I loved it so much. I thought Japan was just such an interesting country that I decided to come again in college for a second year of exchange. And then after I graduated from college in California, I decided to come to Japan for the third time and actually start working up in northern Japan.
Do you have a favorite Japanese word?
Japanese what?
Word.
Favorite Japanese word.
Favorite Japanese
gosh.
word.
Any expression.
Oh.
Oh God, I was stupid one time when I was when I was a public school teacher. Like the first year I was here, I was so stupid. I said zakenna, fuzakenna, because I always heard my students say that, and it's like zakenna, zakenna, and like fuzakeruna means like don't fuck with me, or like stop fucking with me, or like bro, you fucking with me, and I heard my students say that all the time, and so I was like, I really like that word. That's because like it's like it's like hey dude, like it's like, hey, dude, like, your older sister came on to me when I was at your house last night, and, yeah, dude, I don't know, I'm thinking about dating her, and it's like, get the fuck out of here. It's like, Zakena, man. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? But, yeah, I think, now, I don't know, if I thought about my favorite Japanese word, I like it sounds like, kind of stereotypical, but the whole omote nashi. Omote nashi is like you go out of your way to make somebody feel comfortable, and like that's like a very Japanese thing. Like you put other people ahead of you, like before you, to make them feel better, to have a good time. That's a good one. But yeah, I don't know. I gotta think about that. I gotta think about it before the end of this video of like what my favorite word is. But if you guys have a favorite word in Japanese, let me know in the comments down below. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Yeah, if you guys like these reaction videos and you want to see more, tell me in the comment section. Dad, we want to see more. And if you have any videos that you want to recommend to me, put the title for that video in the comment section. I might go check it out. Okay, let's check this out. Keep going. Bakoosh.
I think that probably my very favorite Japanese word is actually a dialectic word from Yamagata. It's very local, but if somebody asks you how are you doing recently, and you say, oh, I'm really busy, you would say, yeah, saikin tsutarapattara shiteru. Tsutarapattara. And even though you might have no idea what that means, it sounds like you're busy. It does. It literally sounds like, whoa. Yeah, like it's a great expression, but it's only used in a very in the northern part of Japan. Really, they don't say it down in Kansai, in the Osaka area, or any place else.
ダニエルさんは日本語は山形弁を喋られるんですか？
そうだね、Yamagata-benが大好きです。I love the northern dialect of Japan. I've always been interested in dialects because I'm from America, and in America, maybe half of the people in America speak with some sort of an accent or a dialect, because we do have some regional dialects like the southern the southern accent and the northeastern accent.
Yeah.
And we also have many immigrants in America. So there are people who speak with like a sort of a Spanish accent or some kind of a European accent or an Asian accent. And ever since I was a little kid, I was surrounded by these people. And I was always interested, why do people talk differently? And it's because they're from different places, they have different experiences, and it's just like very musical, it's very rhythmic. I enjoyed it very much. So when I came to Japan, even though Japan is the same size as California, Japan has all kinds of little dialects, like the Kansai dialect around Osaka, and the Kyushu dialect around the island of Kyushu. And then northern Japan is called Tohoku, not including Hokkaido, but you have Tohoku, which is the 6 prefectures north of Tokyo on the very northern tip of Honshu Island. Those 6 prefectures speak Tohoku dialect. And it's a rich dialect, a lot of interesting history.
I don't really know anything about Tohoku dialect.
Each town usually has several of its own expressions, which is it's just fascinating to me.
なぜ山形弁を学ぶことになったのか、日本語でお答えいただいてもいいですか？
これ日本語でいいですか？
日本語でお願いします。
いや、それはやっぱり住めば都ですね。私は大学卒業して、大学卒業したのが1981年なんだけれども、3度目日本に来ることになりまして、前は2回留学しましたけれども、今度はやっぱり仕事しに来なくちゃって思ってて、で教育文部省に申し込んで英語指導主事助手として仕事やってみたいなと思ってて、でたまたま受かったのが山形県なんです。私は山形県教育委員会英語指導主事助手、として呼ばれまして、で当時はですね、そういう外国人の英語の先生って非常に少なかったんですよ、まだ全国。今は5500人以上もいらっしゃるんですけども、全国。当時はもう70人しかいなかったんですよね。だから各市町村にもいなかった、各都道府県に1人か2人ぐらいしかいなかったんですね。で僕は山形県にとっては初めての外国人の英語の先生だったんです。もうやっぱりね、住めば都、毎日出張してあちこちで英語を教えていたんだけれども、やっぱり地元の人たちと話せばやっぱり出てくるんですよね。いろんな面白い表現。例えばそうだね、山形の代表的な、キーワードがんだっていう言葉ですね。ご存知ですか？
いや、ちょっとわかんないです。
知らない？
わかんない。
んだっていうのがそうですって意味なんですね。
どうやって使うんですか、それ？
だから人の話聞いてる時にそうだねそうだねって書いてんだんだってかこう言うんですね。Yeah, you can say it twice in a row and it's okay. And if you really want to emphasize that you get it, you go dun 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 like that. And like you can say that in Japanese.
God, his Japanese. I don't know if Mr. Kahl is watching this, but goddamn, dude, your Japanese is so fucking good. It's not even like, oh god, I picked like a bad frame to pause it on. Get a more flattering flavor. Okay, yeah, it's like, God, dude, his Japanese is so like, it's not even just like like his grammar, his vocabulary is fucking awesome, but it's not just that. It's like the accent, the tempo, the body mannerisms and stuff. Like he has got it down to a T, bro. And it was funny because like when I first saw him, he was like an older dude, but he wasn't like super old looking. I mean, like even here, I don't know how old he is, but he doesn't even look that old, you know? But like when I saw him on TV for the first time, like he just looked like a dude in like his mid 40s, but he was speaking very like OG-chan, like old guy Japanese style speech. And so I don't know, it's so like, it's cool, inspiring, and refreshing to see this guy talk Japanese. Yeah, let's keep going.
You say so, right? And you can say dan 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 dan. That's exactly the same, but it's just a different word.
Right.
And the opposite. In other words, if you say so this, you can say da. But if you say so janai, you say ne. Serious. It's true. Ne means so jane. Yeah. So if you want to say like, wow, that I get it. Yes, you go dan da. If you say no, that's not different. You go ne. And if you say no, 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 no way, you have to go nin, 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 like that. So it's a really, it's a very musical sort of dialect, and it's really cute. I mean, I don't want to call it, I don't want to say that it's just cute or anything like that, but it is a fascinating language because there's so much history, there's so much local orientation to it. And if you, and you know Yamagata, have you ever been to Yamagata?
I took my driver's license in
Oh.
Yamagata,
Did you really?
which a lot
Driver's
of
license in Yamagata.
Japanese uni students.
That
do.
is very popular because,
Back, yeah, when I was like 20.
yeah. There's so many kids from other prefectures who come up to Yamagata to get their driver's license.
Yeah.
They
What?
say
Why?
it's easier to get your driver's
It
license
was
in Yamagata.
easier, it was cheaper.
And it was cheaper,
What?
yes. Yes, if you do it in Tokyo, it's really expensive. But if you go to Yamagata for a week or 10 days or whatever it is, it's much cheaper.
Yeah.
That's true.
Wait. I didn't know that was a thing. What? When I got my driver's license in Japan, I had to take the test like I think 3 or 4 times. I didn't go to driving school because I already knew how to drive and I had been driving on an international permit for a year. I didn't know that was a thing. Wait. So you can, like, if you want to get a driver, I thought you had to only get you could only get the driver's license in the prefecture that you have your address registered in. Wait, so you could like take a train up to Yamagata and like spend, wow, okay. Somebody put that in the comments section. That's a good life tip we learned from this video today. Fuck yeah. I'll get back into it.
So you've been to Yamagata, so you know what it's like. It's very rural. It's very agricultural. A lot of mountains, a lot of rivers. It's just a beautiful, beautiful place. And I mean, if you like nature, I love nature. I like climbing mountains. I like fishing in rivers. I like camping. And people in Yamagata in the fall, they make little campfires along the side of the river, and then they bring a big pot and they make imoni.
That sounds fascinating.
Yeah, it's a great potato. It's kind of a potato and beef stew. It's really
nice.
you know imoni.
I understand what that is, but I have never tried.
Oh, you gotta go. You gotta go up in the fall and just
You
invite
gotta
yourself
do
in
it.
and say, hey, can I have some of
Gotta
this?
go, mate.
It's really, really delicious.
Potatoes and
often
beef
talk
always
about
sound
Yamagata.
good in my book.
Some people get bored with me, I'm sure, but Yamagata is probably, if you like food, Yamagata is one of the best places to visit. The food up there is incredible.
What are the
Really?
foods you recommend from Yamagata?
Almost everything. The only thing they can't grow or they can't really produce up there is citrus fruits. Because it's too cold in the wintertime. The citrus trees would die. But they have all kinds of fruit. They got apples, they got persimmons, they got grapes, they got watermelon, they got peaches, they got pears. The most famous is cherries. The Yamagata cherries are really famous, and those are really good too. But not only fruit, they grow all kinds of vegetables. Wonderful. Every kind of vegetable you can imagine. They grow a lot of rice. Very good, very, very.
Yeah, rice
kind
and
of
vegetables
high-priced
are really
rice
popular in
Yamagata.
northern Japan.
Plus,
for being
they
like
also
super
have
fresh and
very
high
large
quality.
beef and pork production industries up there.
I
They
didn't know
produce a
that.
lot of really high quality beef and pork.
Really?
They're working on chicken right now, but they're still not making too much headway there. It's a kind of a cold climate, and chickens don't really like cold climates too much. I know that for a fact. I used to raise chickens.
All right, so you've lived in Yamagata, Osaka, in Japan, in Tokyo.
I've been, I have lived in Nara, Osaka, Kyoto, Sado, Yamagata.
You lived
and
in Sado?
then briefly I lived down in Kanagawa, but mainly, Tokyo after that.
Damn.
What's the best place for you to live in?
Oh, I like them all. And for my work, I've been to all 47 prefectures many times each. I just love traveling. I love seeing new places. I love going back to places I've been to before. I could go to Kyoto 1,000 times and never see everything, But if I was going to just live there and not do anything except just hang out every day, I think I would probably go back to Yamagata. Yeah, my wife is from up there, and it's just so calm and quiet, and the people are so cool, and the food is so good, and I don't really mind the cold. I don't really mind the snow. I'm from Southern California, but I think it's kind of interesting.
Nah,
I
I'm
learned
not
how to
going back
ski
to the
up there,
snow.
so that was kind of
No,
fun.
thank
Yeah.
you.
All
Oh,
right.
God.
Wow. So Yamagata, you should pick Yamagata to
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
place.
I would, yeah. In fact, my wife and I are talking about it. We might move back there because I'm getting closer and closer to, retirement age. I don't know if I'll ever completely retire, but I could see myself living in Yamagata for the rest of my life easily. It's just I just really like it there.
Is there anything that you still do not understand about Japanese culture?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I sort of understand most parts of Japanese culture, but there are certain parts that I don't agree with. Just one simple, easy to understand example would be the senpai-kohai relationship.
Yeah.
Senpai-kohai, in other words, upperclassmen, lowerclassmen, or that also applies to like companies and things like that. If somebody is in a company like a year or two longer than you, they're considered your senpai. And if you
Yeah.
came in a couple of years after them, you're the kohai. And so you basically, if you're the kohai, you have to listen to everything the senpai says. And the reason for that, and it's actually a part of Confucianism, is that people who have come first, they know the ropes. And it's their job to lead and to instruct the people who come after them.
Yep.
And that's a really beautiful concept, ideally. The problem is in schools and in companies, the senpai kohai thing, the guys who are the senpai, they take advantage of that,
Yep.
unfortunately.
Yep,
Not
they
all
do.
of them, of course, but a lot of them do, and they use their senpai status to order their underlings around.
Yeah.
And that can get really mean sometimes. I was on the judo team in high school, and I also did judo in college, and I was always a kohai because I was always the young guy. And these guys, I was usually the same age as these upperclassmen, and they were ordering me around and telling me to, do this, do that, and kind of stuff. And I'm going like, hey, be cool. I was kind of like, don't threaten me, dude. I will fight back. I will punch back. I'm an American. You better watch out. Because if you get too insulting with Americans get real upset.
Goddamn right.
So I had to hold that down in me while I was, on the judo team, stuff like that. But and I get it from a philosophical standpoint. Ideally speaking, senpai-kohai relationships, if they are properly followed, it's a great way for the younger people to learn from the older people.
Yeah.
But if the older person is taking advantage of his status and
Uh-huh.
he's just ordering you around to show how strong he is or something like that, that's a perversion of the senpai-kohai relationship. So I understand it and I put up with it, but I don't really agree with it. That's just me. I'm sorry.
Dude, fucking based, man. This is what I always try to tell my students that are like my international students, is just like, because I teach, like I'm a teacher 1 day a week now, but like I teach Kikoku Shijo, which are Japanese kids who lived in America or other places, and then they came back to Japan and they're adjusting, and some of them go full native and they go like, they go into this, but I always tell them that like they have a lot of there's a lot of issues with them dealing with the Kohai Senpai system here. And yeah, it's like Mr. Kahl said here. It's just like, it's good in theory, but in practice, it's different. There's a lot of people, like, you got to remember, like, the reason why a lot of, like, Japanese people blur faces and stuff in Japan, it's not because, like, they want to really protect the privacy of other people. It's just that they know that, like, before like America and 4chan and doxing shit became like a thing, and like swatting became a thing in America, that was a big thing in Japan. Like they got like the head start on that stuff. And so it's not so much they want to protect the privacy of others, it's just that they don't want to get fucked with themselves. So if you show your coworker or your girlfriend or something, then that opens them up to being fucked up by anonymous haters on the internet. And in Japan, when you can't really say what you want to say when you're in a public setting, either with friends or with like in work, like the best way that they get like their energy out, get their angry energy out, is like becoming Kyle's dad and going on the internet and just trolling people. And but like another way that they vent their frustration is they take it out on their kohais. And when I first came to Japan, I was like, wow, this is so great. They've got like such a long history. They've got like this really good structure, like this hierarchical structure that these people are gonna, just because they're older and they're more wise and experienced, so that you just gotta put up with the shit that they give you, because it's gonna make you stronger, and it's gonna help you appreciate Japanese society so much more, blah blah blah. But after being a teacher here for a while, and after working for Japanese companies for a while, luckily I never really had too bad of like a bad senpai kohai relationship when I worked at a Japanese company. But being at the Japanese company, I saw other coworkers that did have to put up with shit like that. And maybe it's just because I was the foreigner, I was lucky that my direct senpais were really nice. But for the most part. But yeah, it's like, it's a really shitty system. And that's one thing I try to tell young people coming in here, that it's like, just because they have this system doesn't mean that you have to put up with it 100%. I saw a video by this young James guy recently, and he talked about how this like older senpai got, I'm going to make a reaction video to that video too, but this older senpai came into his work as like a temporary employee, but he's older, and he was just giving James all this shit, even though James didn't really do like anything to really be warranted to be yelled at. But James is like, yeah, I'm just trying to be respectful, and I'm saying hi, hi, hi. And I'm like, nah, dude, like, you don't need to put up with that crap. Sometimes people are just fucking mean, and they're shitty, and like, respect is earned, It's given after it's earned. And if you've just been like a guy who's been working there a whole time, and like you're just being abusive, and you're doing it under the guise of being like, shidosha, like you're being like like a trainee or like a trainer, it's like, nah, dude, like I'm I don't think any young people are watching this video, but if you are planning on coming to Japan, you got to be very wary of that stuff, like there's a difference between accepting the culture and putting up with abuse, and that's another reason why you guys should join the Discord, because we got a lot of like level-headed, down-to-earth dudes who have lived in Japan for a while in there too. So if you guys ever have any problems like that, you can ask in the I Live in Japan section for some advice like that, and we'll try to give you some we'll try to set you on the right path here. But anyway, yeah, I'm rambling on too much. Let's get back to the video.
Yeah. It's for example, in a military situation, even in the military, in the United States, in the military, if you disagree with the superior officer, you can say that. You can tell him, hey, sir, I don't think that's correct. And he can't yell at you just because he's your superior officer. He has to explain his thinking. He has to help you understand why he made such an order. Otherwise, as an underling, you don't necessarily have to follow all the orders, especially if you think they're illegal or if you think they are morally wrong. You don't have to follow them. That's the way the U.S. military is today. The Japanese military, I don't think so. I don't think they've gotten to that point yet. They should, but it might take another 50 or 100 years, I hope.
Maybe that leads to the next, aka last question. Simply put, what's the biggest difference between USA and Japan?
Simply put, the biggest difference between USA and Japan, well, the size of the country, obviously, and the language. And again, this senpai kohai thing is very different. It's one of the biggest differences that you can point to. I think, though, if you really want to drill down on it, Americans they think of themselves as very independent. And they are very independent, and that's okay. It's okay to be independent and to be free thinking and stuff like that. But that also leads to proper debate. If you're independent, even if you're younger than somebody, you can say, hey, I disagree with you. I think you're wrong. I think we should talk about this. If they have a debate, they will eventually work it out. Whereas if your senpai kohai thing is too strong or too strict, no matter what the senpai says, kohai really he's not allowed to say anything. And that's not a real good, it's not a good basis for democracy. It's not a good basis for democracy. So I think that the senpai kohai thing should be, they should lessen that emphasis on that. and then work more on this, let's talk this out kind of thing. And that America has always been very good at that, except for the last 7 or 8 years. And right now, both sides are demonizing each other so profoundly. It's going to be difficult for America to go back to this debate culture that we used to have up until 2016 or so. We can debate, we could disagree, we could agree to disagree. But
yeah, dude.
recently it's gotten really nasty.
So this is also getting to another point
Based.
that's one of the big differences compared to states. So Japanese people don't want to talk about politics. We don't mention politics.
Yeah, they don't like talking about it.
Not well seen.
True.
What do you think about the maybe culture or its custom? How would you see it?
Some cultures like to talk politics, and some cultures don't like to talk politics, and that probably is mainly a historical. The reason for that is historical more than anything else. America has a long history of debates and confrontation in the democratic system. Japan's history, although Japan is a thoroughly democratic country at this point, the history of Japan's democracy is still relatively short, only since World War II, basically, and it started a little bit earlier, but it got shut down by the military. So there's still a bit of a hesitancy amongst the Japanese to talk about politics very openly. I mean, if you're on TV, like me, I can talk about it a little bit more openly because people want to hear other people's opinions, but they're very hesitant to express their own because they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. They don't want to step on other people's toes. Japanese people are polite to a fault. Sometimes they're too polite because if you hesitate too much and you're trying to be nice all the time, you're going to make your own personality rather bland. And that's something I talk about in my speeches quite a bit. Japanese people are so they practice self-deprecation, which is kenson in Japanese. They practice it to such a degree that sometimes they really can't talk about themselves at all if in a polite situation. It's considered rude to talk about yourself in polite conversation if you don't really know the person that you're talking to. So they all hesitate and they all say, "Oh no, I have nothing to say about that," even though they have a lot of things to say about it. It's not that Japanese people are unemotional at all. Many foreign people come to Japan and they say, "Oh, Japanese people have no emotion." And I definitely disagree with that. Japanese people are amongst the most emotional people I know. They're very emotional, but they're very good at hiding it. They're very good at not expressing emotions and opinions and things like that amongst, in front of people they don't know. But if you give them a couple of beers, a little bit of sake, and say, "Let's talk about this," they will go to town.
Dude.
They'll have a great conversation at the pubs and at the bars, and you can learn more about Japanese politics and more about Japanese culture in the pubs and the bars than you can just about any place else. They're very expressive and very emotional, but you have to loosen them up first. Americans, you don't need to loosen them up at all. They'll tell you their whole life story without a drop of sake.
Oversharing way too much.
That's just the way they are. Americans are very open, they love talking about themselves, which Japanese people are not so comfortable with. That's a big cultural difference too.
Interesting. Is there any other talking points? So that was all from my side. Is there any other talking points you usually use?
You see this? You see this Gyokudo here that we're on? This is a public walkway between the station and the neighborhoods over here.
Yeah, where are they?
And one of the things I really love about Japan is like every time I walk on this road, and I walk on this road several times a week, it's always clean. There's no trash. There's nobody urinating
no
on the side.
There either, you know what I mean?
It's clean. I mean, there's people sweeping. Look at all the plants along the way. People replant this stuff like every couple of weeks. There's a crew of people and they're all in their 70s and 80s. And they come in here and they're like, this is their garden. I suppose that the city gives them a little bit of money, to buy the plants and things like that. But this is a labor of love, keeping your neighborhood clean, keeping it pleasant, planting all these little plants so that people can, just people walking by, they can enjoy it. I think this is one of the nicest things about living in Japan. No matter where you go, people are really conscientious of what their town looks like and what their neighborhood looks like. And they want to make it, they want to leave a good impression. Even though they never talk about it, they just do it. So they don't have to talk about it. They express themselves by their actions. Wonderful. This Gyokudo is one of the best in all of Tokyo, I think. Let me loose, I could talk for 44 years, I've been here so long, I've got so many stories. I've been on TV for so many years. I mean, I've been forced to talk about so many things for so many years. I could really talk for a long time, but I think I should probably just kind of leave it at that and let you edit it all down to 30 seconds or 2 minutes or whatever. And then,
All right,
okay.
Daniel, thanks for your time.
Take care.
Dude, that guy was so badass. Hell yeah, man. Like fucking Daniel, Mr. Kahl. Fuck yeah, bro. Yeah, this is I don't know, man. Like, it's funny because it's like, I still feel like a very young dude. I still feel like I have a better grasp on things than I did when I first arrived in Japan. But I still feel like I'm pretty young, at least at heart, right? But this guy, like, it's always fun seeing people that have been here longer than me, like I tried to never be like, I've been here longer than you so you can suck my donk, like, like you fucking noob. Like some people love to wear like how long they've been in Japan as a badge of honor and like, try to shadow over people. I don't consider myself one of those people, like I encourage new people to learn Japanese and to come over to Japan and, enjoy their future Japanese waifu if they're Japanese waifus and stuff. But it's always just a pleasure when you get to see these dudes like him that have been here for so long just talk about their lives. Like I know he's like, I could talk forever if you let me, but I'm like, dude, I would love to just see like a 10-hour plus long series like this. Not like a podcast where I can't see his face or anything, but just like 10 hours of just talking to Mr. Daniel Kahl in his little like Tokyo like garden walkway. I would love to hear his stories more about like being here in the 80s and shit, and just like experiencing being one of the first English teachers in his prefecture, and just God, this guy's he's like a treasure box of stories. I want to hear him. So yeah, Mr. Kahl, if you're watching this, I don't think he will be, but if he is, if you don't have a YouTube channel, I mean, I'll look after this, but if you don't have a YouTube channel, please make a YouTube channel. Please make a YouTube channel and just like I'll give you like a bunch of topics. You guys too in the comment section, write down a bunch of questions for Mr. Kahl, dude. Like he's like I would love to hear your stories about living in the countryside, everything like that, man. Like please share. And I like the way how he navigated stuff too. He was very Japanesey about it. By like, where would you want to live? And he's like, like, because people take everything they say to heart here when it comes to like TV speakers and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. It's very cool. Anyway, guys, that's here. Let me go back to webcam. Boo. Anyway, yeah, that's going to be it for today's reaction video. What did you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Did you smash the like button? Are you here? If you're here, the secret comment, if you made it this far, to show me you made it this far, is just put in a car emoji. Because his name's Kahl. Put in a car emoji to let me know that you're here. There's a bunch of car emojis as your comment. And, yeah, anyway, guys, yeah, don't forget to follow me on my socials. I post a lot on Twitter. And, yeah, don't forget to join the community on Discord. We got a really great community of people, and some of them even live in Japan. And I don't think we have any older timers besides me, but, yeah. Please feel free to join and, enjoy your time. And thanks again for watching this. I'm already talking too much. You guys have a great one, whatever. I'll see you on the next one. Stay black, son.